All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I'm going to work on contributing to Drupal Rector. If you're not familiar with Rector, it is a tool that automates fixing of PHP code. So it's an instant upgrades and instant refactoring. Let's see. They've got a demo right here, just a quick show. So when you configure Rector, right here it shows it's got bad code. It runs process. It removed that secondary line because that would never run. So Rector was used heavily for the Drupal 8 to Drupal 9 upgrade to remove deprecated code automatically. To do that, there's the Drupal Rector project, and this is what we're going to be contributing to. Right now, the project is on, where is it, down here? It's pinned to replace, require, where is require? Oh, to Rector prefixed 0.7.29. There is now, why can't I find anything? This is now at, I can't find it here, but I think it's in the, where is the version number? Must be under prefixed. There we go. Sorry. So they release it under a prefixed. Also, when you install Rector, you get this prefixed, which helps against conflicts with other dependencies. Phpstand does the same thing. So right now, Drupal Rector is pinned to 0.7.29, and they're now at 0.10. And I recently blogged about this, that I'd be working on it, and I believe 0.7 is from July of last summer. So we're behind about, is that 9 months? And there is a pull request to get it up to 0.8, but a lot of things have changed. So I'm going to work on getting this up to speed because we need to get Drupal Rector ready for Drupal 9 support so it can fix deprecations added in Drupal 9 as we move for Drupal 10. And also, there's bug fixes in Rector. So we need to get Rector up to 0.10 to take advantage of those juicy, good fixes that they've made. So I've already forked this to my organization. One thing I've gotten in the habit of is actually making forks to my company's GitHub instead of my personal to kind of show that it's not just me doing it on my spare time. Like, I'm doing this as part of my company, which for those who don't know, my company is Bluehorn Digital. So I've already got a fork. Let's go to it. So I've forked it. It's even. One thing that I can do is I'm going to clone this using the GitHub command line tool. It's a fun little favorite of mine to use lately. And if you're not familiar with it, there's the GitHub command line. Before they just had hub, but now they have a new CLI that's called GH. You install it via Brew if you're on Mac. Otherwise, you install it through the various other. Oh, that's right. Homebrew supports Linux too. So you use Homebrew for Mac, Homebrew for Linux, or Chocolatey or whatever on Windows. I'm going to share this in the chat for anybody that's curious. And what we're able to do is we can actually clone the repo. And when we clone the repo with the CLI, it will set up the upstream. So I'll have my origin as Bluehorn Digital Drupal Rector and an upstream to Palantir Net Drupal Rector. So I'm going to put this in my projects. So I have a weird setup. I have a Drupal folder. I have a projects folder and clients. Drupal is all of my Drupal sites and some modules. Projects, well, it's for all the different languages and things I poke around at. So we'll go into the PHP and we'll do GitHub repo clone. I'm going to copy the repo path. So you put organization or user /repo and clone. It will clone into that folder. And as you can see, it updated the upstream for me. So that way I can rebase locally and all that. I wish we had this tool way back when we were building Drupal Commerce 2, because for that we did development on GitHub, because that was the only way we could run tests properly. And managing upstreams and checking out pull requests was such a manual pain before that this tool would have saved so many hours. All right, so we've got this here. There was a branch, but I just want to start. What I'm going to do is look at this pull request real quick. So this was submitted by the maintainer of Rector. For example, Rector is moving from YAML to PHP for configuration. So we'll need to do that. And there were a various amount of changes, and we'll borrow from those. Or maybe I should check this out. It's just, I don't know if enough, like, how much has changed. That if we should take from this or think with the number of change, probably easy to take a fork of your branch and work on those, then merge it in. Does that sound like a good approach? I'm just going to start fresh and we'll reference from that. So we'll do git new branch rector 0.10, and let's open this in Phpstorm. So one thing you can do if you have the Phpstorm, also has command line ways to launch it. If you go into if you have the Atlassian toolbox, the JetBrains toolbox, which I do since I leverage multiple other tools, you click the little settings button, or click the button, you can go to settings and then the shell script, and you can automatically install the shell script. So Phpstorm into this directory. So just like many people will use code, like the code command to launch VS Code, you can do the same here. And we'll close the README. Let's see. Language level set to 7.1 based on features in the project. We want to revert to 5.6. What's this say? This does not say, so we'll trust that. Show composer settings. Let's make sure that this went to the correct area. It did. All right. So we'll keep language at 7.1 since it doesn't specify. And let's do composer install. We're going to select the main composer executable and get our dependencies. One thing I realized is that this doesn't quite have, it does have a required dev of behat. Which is interesting. Add and initialize behat. Why would it have scenario when I examine? Oh wait, you can run behat against not functional things? Whoa, I didn't know this. I didn't know you could use behat to manually test your local things. Like I always use behat for its functional capabilities. So that's different. And different as a cool, like in a good way. Like I never would have expected or thought to use behat and the cucumber syntax for non-functional tests. So let's close the annotations. So yeah, that is one thing I do. I know I think in VS Code there's some way to do it, but annotate with git blame shows the sidebar unless you review changes and you click on them, you can see the revision. Hitting Command D, I believe that's one thing that I hit before. Command D, Control D will show the diff, and that's how we're able to see the change. So I clicked here, I read this command, then saw what happened. So one thing we want to do is let's see what happens when we change this to let's pin it at 10.0.0. And what this will do is this will allow us to accept any patch changes to the 10 minor version. Let's see if I can. Great. There's this website that is an interactive explorer for packages and server checker, or it's the Packagist Server Checker made with love, which is MWLB. So we can paste this, this being the package name, and let's type in the version number here. So if we type in 0.10.0, it shows we only get one package. If we add the tilde, we can see that we receive 10.3, 10.2, 10.1, and 10.0. For example, if we were to change this to 9, you'll see that we are only able to stay within the minor version of 0.9. Change this to 0.9 in any patch. However, if we added the upper arrow, it would stay the same. Wait, let's see. Maybe I'm misunderstanding something here. So if we did the upper of 0.9, it stayed. Maybe it's just because we're dealing in a 0 major and a minor that these, okay. That worked complete opposite of what I expected. Shows that I still have things to learn. So we want to make sure that we stay on 10. So we want to be a bit specific, and we're just going to say, we're going to add a version constraint to this because we want to stay on the 10 minor version and not accidentally let somebody upgrade to the 11 minor version when that comes out. And if you're curious, I'm going to share the link into the chat for anybody that wants to click on that and access it. So let's change it to here. And I swear, I'm going to derail myself for a second because now this is bothering me. So if we did 8.9, we got everything in 8.9. And if I did an upper restraint to 8.9, sorry, let's do 8.8. So an upper constraint of 8.8 gave us 8.8.0 up to 8.9, which is expected. If I add the patch, and then if I add the tilde, it keeps us in the 8 major version. Okay, so when using the up arrow, which has a proper character name that I don't know, or the tilde, it matters most on the major and minor constraint. Since Rector is still in, like, I guess you could say a alpha or beta stage and has a 0 major version, it gets a little weird. So we're going to keep it at this tilde 0.10.0, and we're going to run update. Phpstorm has noticed that I changed the version and that is different than what's installed. Let's just click here real quick. So for folks who don't like working with Composer in the command line, there is some better Composer support in Phpstorm. Before, this was a standalone plugin, and then they've added these features into the IDE itself. So I know some people don't like, they kind of balk at the cost of it, but I've had Phpstorm for 5 years now, and I know the entire toolbox only cost me $120 a year, and I do use the Golang for Golang. I use WebStorm for my JavaScript, and it's these little things that it pays for itself. And also they support open source projects and the maintainers of those projects. So I like giving them, some of my money because they make me work faster, and they contribute to open source instead of eating it all like Microsoft. So now that we have this here, one thing that I want to add that does not exist is Phpstand, because that should show us that some things are broken. So we're going to do composer require phpstand/phpstand. We want to get the extension installer. Now, I didn't like study this to know these by heart. It's just I've been writing this up so many times, and between all the videos, it's like stuck in my head. So we want Phpstand, and then it's Phpstand deprecation rules. And I think that's it. So Phpstand is obviously the tool we need. The extension installer will auto wire this extension for us. So that way we do not need to configure it there. So I'm going to hit enter. Great, that installed. I'm going to modify this editor config for .neon. Maybe I think I need it like that. And it's indent size 4. And then indent style of tab. So let's do phpstand.neon. And then its parameters, level. We're going to start at level 0. And one thing we can do, let's test this out first. So inside the preferences, which, I did command comma, but from your tab, it's preferences. So let's go to languages and frameworks. Let's go to PHP, fix the interpreter. So that way we can run code, but it's still analyzing at PHP 7.1. Let's see here. Quality tools. They've actually added Phpstand support and Psalm support. So configuration local. And if we go here, it determined that Phpstand exists. It was validated. And we'll click OK, but it's not enabled in the inspection. So if you click the inspections, it will bring you to editor inspections. Let's expand the PHP. I believe it's under code smell. No, under quality tools. Quality tools. There we go. So code sniffer. Why has that got a show as warning? We want to change this to PSR2 code sniffer validation, because we're not working with Drupal, we're working in a library, and all PHP libraries should follow the PSR2 format or some version of that. Now we're going to add Phpstand validation. So the configuration file, let's point it to here. This is one, I don't know if this is a Mac thing or if it's something that Phpstorm could fix, but whenever you open the Finder, it goes to your last location regardless of your current project. So now I've got to try to find this Drupal Rector and phpstand.neon. Let's hit apply, and we're going to open, let's open utility. So let's add command trait. So that's PHP CS. So we can do PHP code, beautifier. We don't want to necessarily fix PHP CS. Let's go to Rector. All right. Thank you for the follows. So here we've got a red line. Class must be declared abstract or implement Git rule definition. Okay, so we probably have some broken code here. We have a lot of broken code here. I wonder if the problem is due to the fact that we're depending on Rector prefixed, so we don't have the files available. This code sample is in here. Let's see. So Rector core. Oh man, a lot did change, so that could be it too. Rector definition. Let's see. Nothing found there. Let's go to rules. Okay, now they have simplify. Since I'm completely new to this, let's see, Phpstand class rector, core rector, abstract rector not found. But it is. Okay, so this still exists. It's probably some problems with having the prefixed data. So I wonder if we could do so for require dev, I feel like we need to have the same requirements. Now, when you do require dev, it doesn't get installed when somebody installs your package. This is when you run composer install inside of your package. And Shaw, yeah, you're right. It behaves weird when it's a zero major version. Like it's just because it's not. It's essentially having a zero major version is like saying 1.0.0 at alpha, but not really. It's just things get weird. So let's run composer update so we can try to get namespace node and all right. We have that. Let's see if that changes anything by having dev require rector. I'm going to get so tongue tied by saying things like rector. GitHub rector. So one thing I did notice is it looks like rector prefixed was replaced. So I wonder if inside composer.json there is a replace. Okay, cool. So this is awesome. That means with this replace definition that while working on this extension, we can say when you add this project, when you add this extension to your Drupal project, you will get, oh, this is in the wrong area. I forgot to prefix that with dev too. Sorry, let me just copy paste that before I forget. So what it will do is when you run composer require palantir-net Drupal rector, the only dependency it's going to add is rector prefixed. But when you're contributing to it and you run composer install inside of this project, you're going to get behat phpstand. Why is this throwing an error? And you'll get rector, and rector will replace the prefixed package. So you get all the you're having a full development environment instead of one that's optimized for use in other projects. So hopefully that will make some of this code makes not sense, but will help the analysis of the code because we won't have a prefixed version. I need to see if I can do that for Phpstand Drupal actually, because I never tried that. Okay, so we've got our dev dependencies. I've never looked at this code beforehand, so or worked with Rector. Actually, for being so involved in the Drupal 8 to Drupal 9 stuff, I've never used this tool. I'm guilty. You know, I did a live stream of upgrading my personal site from Drupal 8 to Drupal 9. And I forgot to run Rector and I broke my site. And even after that, I haven't been on many Drupal 8 to Drupal 9 upgrades. Things either were on Drupal 8 and then they had to stick there because some of the commerce dependencies weren't ready yet, and I'm not on those projects anymore, or they were just straight Drupal 9 builds. So I haven't used this tool that often, which is why I decided to work on it because now, you know, I get to see what it's like and help get it ready for the Drupal 10 readiness. So I'm going to go back to that pull request real quick and see what some of the changes were. So this changed the test to look at the rector.yaml. So I guess we can, there's those changes, like those are known. It's all Diff. Maybe I should have pulled in this pull request after all. So let's see here. So there's all of the, it moved all the configuration to YAML, or from YAML to PHP. So you know what I'm going to try to do is, let's see if we can do this. So it conflicts, it has a conflict. Sorry for scrolling around like mad. I'm trying to get to the repository. So if we go here and we're going to find Drupal Rector, and we're going to, no, I don't want to copy that. I want to copy, I'm going to copy the URL, and inside Rector, we're going to get remote add. I always do this. Let's copy the username first. So I'm going to copy the username as the remote name. I'm going to copy the remote. So now if I do get remote v, it's a new remote, and a remote is just, so Git is a decentralized version control system. Anything can be the source of truth as long as that's what everybody pushes to. So I've added Thomas's repository as another source of truth. So I'm going to do git fetch against that remote. So that way my local Git repository knows about all of the branches and heads available there. And his branch name was Rector 08, which I'm not seeing anymore. Oh, well, shoot. Is that why this is grayed out? Because the branch doesn't exist? Oh, this repository has been deleted. All right, so it's like I will be just manually applying a bunch of those changes. There is a way I could try to check out this pull request and add it as a remote, but I feel like that's going to be a lot of work. But let's see if GitHub PR list, which should be the base repository, Palantir. Ooh. All right. So it shows the pull request. We got 122. So let's try something here. Let's do GitHub PR checkout. And we're going to check out pull request 122. Oh, your local changes would be overwritten. Okay. Let's commit those really quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check out that pull request, and I'm going to try to merge it into my branch. So corn effect, corn cob, cobby corn. For those who don't know, corn effect is Justin, a very good friend of mine who is a Drupal developer as well. Somebody that I had the joy of working with, and to boiling pots of water because he worked with me, and then I would quit my job, and then he had to deal with the aftermath. We'll call it, we'll just make a commit, add Phpstand and the Rector dev trunk. So that's committed to there. So let's check out the pull request. So now I'm on the branch. If I were to do git log, great, we have those commits from September. And now it's a local branch. Let's check out to my branch of 10. And instead of doing it on the command line, let's pop into the Phpstorm VCS tab. So we're going to take Rector 08, and now this is blocked by the webcam item, so we'll shimmy it up a little bit. So I'm going to click on the branch name here. I'm going to pick Rector 8, and I'm going to click merge into current, and things are going to slightly explode. And you'll get to see my favorite part of the Brains IDEs is the merge tool. So we'll click merge. I don't know why this was deleted, honestly. I think we can keep that. And we'll click apply and save changes. Let's merge the composer.json. Now, normally, if everything's happy and working, you can click this item that says resolve simple conflicts. Unfortunately, there's nothing simple here. So we're going to change it. We're going to accept our change from our branch. And from here, the case converter, I wonder why that was needed. Or was that something that was commented as case? This was removed since we're not using it anymore. We'll have to remove it here as well. Okay, great. So that's not needed, and it bumped up PHP to 7.2. We're going to ignore that unless we absolutely need it later on. So all changes are finished, or all changes, save and merge. This was deleted. That means, so 8.0 deprecations. So the merge, that means this was added here. So it's deleted. This is the result. And this line being highlighted. What's great? What's get cracking? I'll have to, like, you have to get, like, hold on. Get cracking, like crack your knuckles. That was really bad. But I'm a dad of 3, so I get to make horrible dad jokes all I want all day. So I'm going to copy this line. At what point are you able to have subs on Twitch? Let's find out. I'm getting way too ADD here and popping all over the place. Community, insights, achievements. Once I get 5 people chatting at the same time and reach 50 followers, I get build a community. Affiliate is when I can receive subs, I believe. So I have to stream for 8 hours, which I'll accomplish today and on Sunday. Stream 7 different days. I need to get 3 more days of streaming in. Then I'm able to get subs, I believe. So that is that. We'll look at Get Kraken because Dwayne brought this up at MidCamp today, which, another side plug, MidCamp is happening right now. Today is like an intro to the Drupal community and MidCamp day. But tomorrow there will be trainings and sessions. I'll be giving a training on Nightwatch.js so we can write tests for the Olive theme. And there'll be some awesome sessions on Friday. Okay, so back to this. This is what was added. And I'm going to create an issue here. Upgrade. Need to Rector. I'm working on the upgrade. The PR. You know, one thing I have found that I do like about GitLab over GitHub is in GitLab, when you do the pound sign or hash sign, it returns issues. But if you use the exclamation point, it only returns merge requests. Now, I also say that as I get frustrated trying to reference a merge request, and then I forget to type the exclamation point. So 122. The conflict is on, which must have been added sometime between the PR being started. Sorry, 1 second. I want to try to at least make this somewhat intelligible before just dropping it and only the folks here on the stream knowing what it means. Here number 22. This is for 8 and the source branch has since been deleted. All right. So I can accept that change and know that this needs to get added in. So I'm going to click on the X. Oh, wait, no. Shoot. Let's click apply. Wait, continue merge. Okay, I'm going to cancel the merge and I'm going to just accept theirs because it was deleted. So we have now merged that branch into ours. I'm going to find that file, that wonderful file, rector.php, options exclude paths, that can't be found. So that's a bug. Config import, vendor, config Drupal 8, Drupal 8.0 deprecations. I should have saved that file reference. So let's go here, config Drupal 8. It was in 8.0 multiple. So after entity create rector, oh, so right here. So let's duplicate it. Again, I'm trying to get better at using keyboard shortcuts and saying what I did. So Command D. Command D is duplicate. In VS Code, it is something completely different, and I always do it by accident. And I've never spent time. I think it's like Command Down moves it. Some of those like really common commands are different hotkeys in there. So the class was entity, delete multiple rector. So a shortcut to the light bulb is option enter. And the light bulb gives you little hints on things you could do to clean up. So in this case, simplify the fully qualified name, removes all the name spacing. And Phpstand is just arguing, and that is one reason I usually turn it off. So we're going to turn that off until we get things fixed to prevent Phpstorm from just running and running and running. So let's, again, whenever I open that this diff window, I'm running Command D. Add back that. Let's commit. I sincerely hope that this merge request or this pull request gets squash merged because there's going to be a lot of commits. So let's, how do I run the tests? README, automated testing. Example, so this test assumed that this repository is installed as a local composer package. Oh, okay. So testing is set up in that way versus PHP unit. So it might be kind of hard to run things. Let's close a few tabs. Get cracking. Gonna look at that in just a second. Let's just run here. Well, note at least one path must be specified to analyze, which will be source. So while that runs, no, what? Command, oh shoot. So while that runs, get cracking. Legendary Git GUI for Windows, Mac, and Linux. So it's like source tree, which for those who don't know what source tree is, that is the Git GUI. Do they still make it? Like, this is how I learned Git. Like, I learned Git through source tree. They still have it. Nice. This is how I learned how to use Git in the first place, and then I started using command line. Looks like the same as it was 8 to 10 years ago. And the screenshot is at least 4 years old. So this is neat. So products, oh, they've got timelines. What is this? Timeline maker. Okay, cool. Pricing. You can get the free Git GUI, or you can do cloud-based things. Interesting. I know I wouldn't pay for it because I like my version control workbench inside of Phpstorm, and the VS Code area is like kind of good. It works, but I could see that's definitely an awesome tool. They would need to have some benefits to make me want to. I don't know what their benefits would be for paying for that. Yeah, yeah. They would like for me to purchase a tool like that, they'd have to have some altruistic benefits. Like, are they contributing to Git? Are they sponsoring maintainers of open source projects in some way? Because my Jira already reads my GitHub tickets. So like I already have all that tooling set up, but I'm me. That's the other part. I'm me. I already invested that time to set it up. And if they are making that easier for other folks that are new to that, then props to them, because having that kind of integration is a good thing. Okay. Exit code 255. And sorry, yep. I'm a very opinionated person. I've come to realize that. So always take my things with a grain of salt, because when I find like my lane, that is usually where I like to stay when it comes to like developer tooling. Not that I won't change, but I know I can be one of those people that's opinionated on it. So file URI target rector contains one abstract method and therefore must be defined abstract. What is the sub? Get rule definition. Get rule abstract rector, get rule. Well, where is this supposed to be defined at? Documented rule interface. Oh, because it's in the interface. So I have no idea what this should look like. And we'll see if there's anything. So this is in Drupal Rector. So let's go to abstract rector. And this is inside rector core. So the best way to learn, in my opinion, is looking at what others have done. So replace magic property, change event name. Sure, let's go here. So what method are we looking for again? We are looking for get rule definition. So get rule definition. All right. So it looks like we should already have this kind of code available. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Get definition, get rule definition. Howdy, hey. Can we use Rector to fix this project? Because this is exactly what Rector, like, does Rector have Rector rules for Rector extensions? Because that would be some really great, like, Inception type thing if we could have Rector just repair itself. Wow, is this really like half of what has to be done? So rule code sample, and code sample was moved to simplify to a whole new. Oh, shoot. Well then, let's import the class. That's really what has to happen to all these files. All right, maybe we can do this in this live stream before things wrap up. I just want to run the analyze again real quick to see what happens. Again, it's going to be the same error, blah, blah, blah. Get mock rector contain one abstract method. Okay. Now the question is, do we go full developer and take an hour to write a rector rule to fix rector, or do we just manually do it? I have a feeling probably just manually do it. And let's see how fast. Actually, let's take an example on how fast that could be. So we've got the kernel test-based mock. So if we go here, and if I were to just hit for deleting lines, one of my things I always do is I do Command X, which is cut. I just cut lines out, and then that deletes it. So now rule. So I guess the only bummer is that it changed to rule definition. So that has to be a copy paste. But for this new code sample, we can just do import class to fix the name. What does this say? No space after. Okay. Well, looks like that's everything that needs to be done. So one thing I want to do, let's copy this. So I'm going to do Shift Command New to open a new Scratch file. Scratch files are like creating a new, just like an empty file, but you're able to go back to them, which I need to severely purge because I have 297 Scratch files. But I'm going to go make a new text. So that's the old. And one reason I'm doing this is so we can do a find and replace to just simplify our refactor. So if I do, let's do edit and find, replace in files. It's not going to make it easy for me to do this, is it? Find, replace in files. Oh, great. Source. All right, so we're going to find the use rector core rector definition and replace the import statement to be one of the new wherever it moved to, because that's about half that. Well, that's exactly half of what needs to be changed. So let's do replace all. Yes. So let's do another fix. We know that this has to be replaced. So we need to replace that with rule definition. So let's search for edit, find, replace in files. Great, highlighting it. So I guess that's one trick. So I'm going to copy this. I notice with Phpstorm, when you highlight something, it selects that in the find. So I'm going to go find usages. No, not find usages. Find, replace in files. So it highlighted that. We're going to paste that. We're going to replace all. Now, the next step, we're going to take rector definition, find, replace in files, and we'll replace it with rule definition. We'll hit replace all. Now, I know there's somebody out there that could have done this in Vim in about like a third of the time, but I'm not that kind of person. Like, I'm not that good at Vim. I can use it to write my commit messages and to edit big files, but that's about it. I am not a Vim pro. So that's a lot of changes. So let's just look at format date rector. We have one change left. We need to change this function from get definition to get rule definition. So let's copy. I'm copying that. We're going to do find, not find usages, find. Replace in files. We're going to replace that with get rule definition. I'm hitting escape to just make sure. Yes, get rule definition. Find, replace in files. It remembered. Let's do replace, replace all. Yes. Great. I think we may have just rector, or manually rectored the rector. All right. No fatal error, which is awesome. But we do have this parent class name, this attribute key. So I have a feeling this moved to somewhere else. So let's find that. I'm going to do Shift Command F to find in files. I'm going to open it in the find window down here. So this has key. So now I'm going to go to my vendor directory. I'm going to do Shift Command F there. For that, nothing found. So a bunch of things move to this simplify. And I'm not going to find it in here. Parent class name. If node has attribute key, virtual node. Oh, maybe they just changed its name. Okay. So we're looking for parent class name. Scope uses node class name, class node, method name, original name, resolved name, internal parent node. So I guess if I was more intelligent, let's say PHP parser. That's going to come up with no. So what I should do is go to gitrector.org and go to the blog and see if there's something in here. Average pulse, static reflection. No. Standalone projects, simpler test case. One thing I'd like to do here is improve the tests. No, for the current maintainers, there's nothing wrong with your test, but I wonder if we can leverage the PHP unit tests that they already have to make it easier to test with. To upgrade. Oh, they have an upgrade doc. Beautiful. So before I even read through everything, what? Attribute key class. Argument key to return type. Let me look at all the upgrades. Upgrade 9, they don't say anything about upgrading from 8. Well, exclude pass is now skip. I know that is a bug we had here. No, exclude rectors. Oh, so it is just skip. So we're gonna do that one first. Since that's a thing, but attribute key. Rector node type resolver node. And when does it say node? It's like a node when in the abstract syntax tree for PHP. So class node is if it's a class-like statement. So parent node. Parent node is a string. Is unreachable. Well, I'm going to go for the next part of why do we need this? So let's read it. So it's checking if the method name is getMock and that the variable is a variable and that the name of this is this base class being extended, which I don't even know how this gets. Oh, getMock base. So it's fixing calls to getMock and browser test base. So this getMock, this createMock. So it's trying to check node has attribute, node get attribute, parent key. This is in PHP parser. So, all right, so we can figure this out then. So get attribute, this attributes exists. So it's trying to make sure that we're in the context of the proper class being called. And I think I have a rule for the like this in Phpstand. So source reflection, no. Rules, Drupal plugin manager, abstract plugin manager. No, that's so if class reflection. Oh, so this checks the class reflection if it implements a certain interface. In here, so this gets the reflection. It checks if it's so in my code. What this is doing is finding a constructor to a oh no, this isn't for the. One second, let me see. So that makes sure that it sets a cache backend if it's a plugin manager. Plugin manager inspection rule. Okay. So this checks if the node is a YAML plugin manager and basically yells if it calls parent construct. But that means node extends to string. So if we go to is YAML discovery, inspect YAML. So we can create a reflection off of the class. I think this just might need to get rewritten. So node is a method call. And here it was sorry, so node has attributes. So this get name let's see if we can do some snooping inside of PHP parser. So Rector, here we go. Let's see. Laravel, where do you return new method code? Oh, this, thank you for the subscribe. So this passes the args and creates a new method call. But that's not, okay, that's not helping. We want to find it. So builder factory, new expression, method call, the args, this args. Yeah, this won't. Converts all literal values to expressions. So I don't know where we'll find that. One thing I think the next step is to go to, what is this? Rector packages. Let's go to Rector. Go to packages. And it was in node type resolver. Node type resolver, node attribute key. Let's do a blame. And we'll see if we can find anything on 3 years ago. Hold on. Why is it deprecated 3 years ago? Attribute key. I feel like something's not right here. Let's go to main. Okay, so we're on main. This did live in the file. Let's go to blame it now. And I guess we got to figure out when this happened. And I suppose this is when like git bisect would be good, but I don't know how to use that despite the deprecated tag was added 7 days ago. All right, so let's look at history because it was 7 days. Like that's remove parent class. Hey, there we go. Thank you for that tip. So it was removed. Parent class scope resolver. Okay, so that's why. So there's a new resolver that you want to use. So how do you inject this? Or rather, I guess you now need to inject that into your class. So what's one that has this? Jeez. Dead code. Remove parent call without parent rector. Awesome. Great. We have found a rule that implements this. We'll just do protected. Protected. Let's see if I can just open this in here. So there's the use statement. Try to be alphabetical with it. There. You can go and move up one. So I guess what is going on? Oh shoot, that's because I specified it to be PSR2. So it's going to make everything be 4 spaces inside Phpstorm. So we've got this here, and it should do, since it has auto wired, or it has auto wiring in the service container, we don't need to wire anything. We just need to define anything. We just need to make sure we have the correct information in the constructor. So parent class name. Okay, so that's how we get the parent class name. So why don't we just parent class name? We'll just do that. And we want parent class name to equal parent class name. This git name. Okay, so it does the, I want to try to just break this up a little bit so I can better read it and make sure. All right. So node get name, if node var is instance of variable, and then this get name of the variable is this. So what this is reading is this get mock. That's what it's mock. It's trying to read this statement from the abstract syntax tree. Which this is all, trust me, this is super fun if you enjoy this kind of thing. Otherwise, it is not. I've come to love and enjoy it after digging into Phpstand and with Phpstand Drupal, and it's just neat being able to like take code, parse it, and read from an abstract syntax tree to understand what the code's doing. It just gets insanely complex as you move down. So git mock base. So here, so what this is doing here, if you're trying to read and follow it along, is we've hit a node that is, that this mock, the various parent classes. So if it's Drupal test browser based, find this entity type manager equal this git mock here. And then in the code, it checks the method. Oh, so this is, so here the method name, it returns the refactor returns the new method call. And because it is with the abstract syntax tree, we're able to replace the existing node references with the new syntax statements, and that's how it can be automatically replaced. So we save that. Now let's run. So we have the same problem in the entity manager rector. So entity manager rector. What file did we edit? It was mock, which was in the base. So git mock base. I am a big fan of copy and pasting because copy and pasting saves time, and saving time saves brain cycles, and it just makes life easier. All right, I could just go edit the settings to be for Drupal instead of here, but so this refactor, this node name is entity manager, this git node name is Drupal. So this right here is checking if the name is entity manager and it's being called from the Drupal static. So static call, a static call is when you do \Drupal and then the 2 colons and call any method name. That is a static call. So this is the service name. We call in a method entity manager. We need to check that method can call the correct service. Where is the dead code? There it is. So in here, we are copying this line. So if node has attributes, so here we replace these lines of code with parent class name. So it checks if it's inside a controller and then does more reading of things. So let's go back to Phpstand and see if that fixed it all. Woohoo! Now that doesn't mean this works. It just means that Phpstand is saying that we don't have any broken references. If it would help readability to keep the inline comment examples, I thought about that, but it's one of, if you don't know how to read the abstract syntax tree calls, will the comments even help you? I guess, they could. So you know what? Let's add that here. Let's add that. Yeah, we'll add it because if you do look at this git rule definition, so here's one thing. It might be duplicated because the rule definition explains what it fixes, the code before and the code after, and then the rector method is what mutates statements. So it's one of, if you don't understand like the node expression method call, so if it's an expression, that means it's doing something, like it is a method call. I don't know if the inline comments will help. They will. All right, let's just do it. Let's just add it. If the maintainers don't like it, we can pull it out, although I'm feeling it won't make a big difference. This checks for a method call with the method name of get mock, and that the variable calling get mock is this, not some other variable call. So for instance, why we do, so we could just do a, yeah, it would be duplicated, but like I want to, we'll just add this to the get mock base because this is separate. I'm gonna add it since I already wrote it, and I think it might be helpful for some people that want to contribute rules. So I guess it won't hurt entirely. So like here, so it's not some other variable call such as, you know, my other service. And have unintended consequences. So that's what this is doing. It's checking if the var of the expression is an instance of node variable and that the variable name is this. Because otherwise it could be this my service get mock. And while this could automatically fix it because it's just changing the identifier of the method, it's an unintended consequence because what if get mock in my other service isn't deprecated because it's a different method name. And that's also why we don't just do a static call test like we did in the entity manager, because what if that static, it's, well, one, it's not a static call. So we could do like if not is static call just fix, but we would be fixing it for any class that might have a get mock call that isn't deprecated. So I'll just leave that comment in there, and it doesn't hurt, but it may not necessarily be useful because there are the code examples inside each rule. But then again, just because there's this code example, somebody may not be able to understand how to read the PHP parser library, and maybe those comments are enough for someone to understand it and be able to start hacking and contribute rules. So it doesn't hurt, but I'm not going to go through and add a bunch of those right now. I just want to see if there's any unused calls to this. It doesn't look like it. Okay, so I ran that, and we will check. So there's the source directory, but also the config. And the config, as you saw earlier, I had to fix an undefined constant, no errors. Shoot. Let's do, no, we don't want a new change list. I want to group by directory. Update rule definitions for Rector 0.10. Let's commit, perform the code analysis. I'll review it. I never actually review this, but because half the time it's in Drupal code and inline that. Half the time it's coded in Drupal and it's like, sorry, we can't resolve this variable. It's like, well, of course you can't because nothing is strictly typed. So expected parameter type of PHP parser, arg or void. That's a new one. Method call provided. So method call args 0. Node load method is a method call, so maybe this will break. We'll find out though when it pushes up. So let's do the commit and push. When you do the review, it aborts your commit. So it stops the commit. There's one problem left. I'm just going to say commit and push. We're going to push up this branch. What was refused? Oh, what? One second. So I noticed this before. It will when you clone with the CLI, it adds the remote as the HTTP endpoint, and I don't know why. And I'm pretty sure there is a issue for that to get fixed. So we'll fix it by doing git remote set URL origin. I have git bash auto completion added, so I just typed O and hit tab. So now if I do git remote v, my origin is proper. So git push origin rector. I'm going to add -u for track. I have no idea why it's -u. I think it might mean like upstream branch, so that way it knows it's tracking that upstream. So we could click this link, but we'll use the handy GitHub CLI. So GitHub PR create name. Yeah, let's name it Rector. That takes 122 commits and updates to there. It included the commit list. And we'll do, so this is in nano, Control X, yes for save. And then my terminal froze up a bit, but I hit enter again and that submitted it. So now we go here. We got it, but one thing I should do is copy here. Let's go to this. Let's click edit. We're going to say fixes. So by GitHub has it where if you say something fixes or closes in a pull request or in a commit, once the commit is merged into the main branch, it closes the issue, or once the pull request is merged into the main branch, it closes the issue. So now we just need to see and wait what happens with the tests. So I hope this has been fun for a few people. We haven't done anything super complicated, yes. Just like some problem solving. There wasn't much that we had to write for code. It was just migrating code. It would be interesting to write rector rules for fixing rector extensions. All right, we've got a failure. Now we'll probably get to the hard part. Run rector. Cannot stat vendor. All right, we'll see what that's all about. So install GitHub. Wait. Oh, wait, what is this doing? Create Drupal artifact and run. Download project. Install from dev. Oh, wait, this should be pulling from the repo, shouldn't it? Like, it shouldn't be pulling from master because that doesn't have the config file. Packages run rector. Oh, wait. I believe that somewhere there's a comment in here. Package automated tests are going to fail because it can't find the files I moved. They aren't there yet. So on pull request, no. Why is it still running if it's on This will test on every pull request and every commit that's pushed to master. We don't want to run on pull requests though. So by having it as null, it still will run because it has a value. So if you just remove it, it won't run on pull request. I'm not sure if that's the intent, but the fact it said null there. So let's just update that because that confused me. Let's go back. So I wonder if there's a way we could. So packages run Rector. So it runs create project. Oh, one thing that I showed, or I want to show off one thing that I'm working on that should hopefully help automate this. Update to get code from repo instead of packages. Master does not exist on packages. I wonder if this should be referencing the local path URL. Okay, so that is symlinking it, which actually it should not symlink it because that will have bugs. But we'll work on improving test coverage at another date. One thing that I've been working on is Moonhorn Digital setup Drupal. So I've had to write a lot of packet or GitHub actions commands that run this create recommended Drupal recommended setup, and installing either modules or adding the current repo as a dependency. So I'm setting up a GitHub action to do this. It has some bugs, but here is the setup. So you pass it a version, such as upper limit of 9.1, you could say 9.0, you could say 9.2.x, anything like that, and it will run composer create project. I'll show you the script. So inside source index. So what it does is it runs composer create project in the path provided. It sets the minimum stability to dev because this was a change record. It now requires stable. So if you do composer require dev dependency that's -dev or alpha or beta or even RC maybe, it gets rejected because it's not meeting your stable minimum stability. So it adds that. It says prefer stable because sometimes with minimum stability dev, it will actually clone the dev version. So prefer stable, or sorry, that's preferred install. So you want to, with minimum stability dev, you want to specify, hey, if there is a stable version, I'll take that. Don't give me one or give me like 2.1, not 2.2 at alpha. And then preferred install is a dist, so don't clone everything. Like try to download an archive if available. It ensures that the core dev dependencies are installed. For Phpstand Drupal, we need this, otherwise it dies due to PHP unit not existing. If we're on Drupal 9, we need to have the PHP spec prophecy PHP unit package added. This adds a bridge for the prophecy library for doing mocking. And then in here, I added extra dependencies so you could include like extra submodules or other packages. And then to do, I need to add allowing the current repo. So in this example, sorry, not that example, the local, it's running a symbolic link, which means that if you've run composer install inside this package, which they haven't, it could create some weird side effects. So I've started to do symlink is false in my testing, but this would automatically include your repo as a package. I think over the weekend I will get this wrapped up because I need it for Phpstand Drupal. I need it for Drupal check and the Drupal Rector module could leverage this as well. So now that this ran and explained that tidbit, let's see. This failed. Run bhat. Refresh because it's being weird. Error. undefined class constant exclude paths. Oh. So skip. Why is this highlighted? Because it exceeds 120 characters. Wait a second. This isn't right either. Oh, docroot dir. So yes, it is right if there's a docroot version and a web version. So never mind. Ignore me. All right. So what was that? What do we call this? Fix remaining usages of option exclude paths. That's about, oh shoot, that's why Phpstand didn't catch it, because those are in the root directory. So let's add local package. Let's add a new workflow called Phpstand name Phpstand on push pull request jobs, call it test, runs on, sure, we'll copy that. And so if anybody heard my Google Home, it reminded me that it's time to take a little break. Set up this, it has like a workflow thing that reminds you to do like a schedule, just like, hey, take a break. Hey, it's lunchtime. Get out of your rabbit hole. But I wish there's a way to tell it to like skip for certain days. So we want this to run Phpstand, which I realized. Oh, I just copied it. So run Phpstand. We need to run it in against various files, I realized. I want to know if there's a way to define it in the configuration. So getting started, first run, command line usage, baseline, config reference. There we go. Paths, wonderful. So I don't want to have to define all these. So we don't want to read tests, but we do want config, source. We don't want Rector examples. What we do want, I wonder if this is still supposed to be a YAML file or not. I don't know what this is, so I'm not going to touch it for right now. But we want to analyze that and that. For those who don't know, I am just running Command C to copy the file names and paste them. So let's run Phpstand again. Analyze all the files. Let's do with debug on, just to make sure. Great. So it is analyzing those files. So let's rename this to be Phpstand analyze name. So that way it reads a bit better. Oh, shoot. So for those who don't know, this tool I'm running, Act, is the github.com. Niktos Act is a GitHub Actions runner that you can run locally, so that way you can test things. It's nice because at least it can list all of your workflows. It runs in Docker. I had quit my Docker before this because I didn't think I needed it. So I'm just going to let Docker boot up real quick. And I want to run this Phpstand workflow locally fast to see if it'll work. So I'm going to wait for the icon to stop animating to say that it's booted. Did anybody have any questions so far or curiosities I can try to answer while this goes? All right, there's that. So 1 second, let's make sure this actually runs it better. File, Cannot find composer.json and what? All right, I'm just pushing it. Am I doing mid-camp contrib this weekend? That is the plan. I'm looking at my phone for my calendar real quick because that is the plan. But yes, so well, actually, that was my plan. Tomorrow, I'm running through a. Trust me, I'm actually pulling up something relevant. Drupal testing workshop. Tomorrow for midcamp, I'm going to be running through a workshop on how to get Drupal and Nightwatch testing running. So between locally, DDev, and with Lando. So that way on Saturday we can contrib with, that way on Saturday the contrib sprints can help Olivero become stable and core. But Friday I'm getting my first COVID vaccine. Apparently because I have asthma, I got boosted up in the list. So it's pending. Like I would like to, but if the shot hits me hard, I don't know. From what I've heard, folks who have had COVID before, the first shot is bad and the second shot is badder. The second shot is worse. For folks who have not had COVID, the first shot is a breeze. The second shot knocks them flat. And last year, around like 2 weeks ago last year, I became really sick and I was sick for a month and a half. And I think I had COVID, but no one would test me because I wasn't sick enough. So it depends. If the shot knocks me out, I won't be. But if I'm somewhat alive and movable, I plan on contributing to help get Olivero stable and core. Okay, so now I totally lost now I forgot what I was doing. Pulled up something. Oh no, I didn't forget what I was doing. I made sure to answer a question and I'm going to push this up. We called it fix remaining exclude paths. Also adds Phpstand workflow to catch these things, to catch unused calls. So let's push that. Awesome. Yeah, there's I closed Slack because I wanted to not have a bunch of pings. But if we go to Drupal.org and we go to Drupal, let's see. While we wait for this to run, because we've got a few things going. Oh, it didn't pick up my Phpstand because I didn't add it. silly fool. So just push that quick. And one second, let me clean up my mess here. Details. So a way to cancel this. I can't cancel because I'm not a maintainer. That's right. I'm used to being on the maintainer edge of this part. So that's going to run. So while that goes, we'll look here. So in component, let's see, can I type Olivero theme and do search? Add additional testing coverage for Olivero. Oh, and Nightwatch. So I'll link these in the chat because that's easy to do. So those are the links. And one thing that we'll be doing is actually one simple Nightwatch test, though, so this can be merged and tested. It's probably this menu constraints tabbing in only one direction. Maybe. I know tomorrow what I'm going to be showing off is using Nightwatch to scroll down the page and verify the Olivero and verify that the Olivero menu collapses when you scroll. I don't have a site available for testing this, but we'll see if simplytest.me does. So we'll let that launch in the background. So those are the links for Olivero for testing that. Great. Hey, look at that. No errors from Phpstand. Let's do the local run rector. Still installing. So is this one. So let's see what's going on here. For those who don't know, the other thing that I've been working on is getting simplytest.me updated. Currently, this is still the Drupal 7 site, and we're working on a Drupal 9 build that has a headless front end and a few other improvements, such as this build runs a little bit faster. 1 second. Got to reply to a client email real quick. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. All right, well, we'll let that run. Let's see if we have any progress here. It's one thing that I dislike about GitHub Actions is it's hard to like toggle. To me, it seems hard to toggle between different runs and get back to the pull request. Let's see. Let's go back to here. Maybe if I click details here. There we go. All right. I know sometimes you end up like at the commit in the main actions tab and it's like for the commit versus linked to the pull request. Oh, quick sprint. Wait, quick sprint. That's quick sprint using Drud quick sprint. Oh, I didn't think about that. I was thinking of the command that's in here somewhere. Test site? No. There's supposed to be like that quick site. So, not quick start. a basic toolkit. All right. I will. No, not the Phpstorm project. As you can see, I have my hands in way too many things, and so I'm gonna add a also test with Strud quick sprint. See. So I'm gonna look into that because this already has ddev configured. So sorry, I'm going off on a mini side quest here in tangent. So this already has the ddev testing service configured, which adds Drupal CI Chrome driver in all of the PHP unit environment variables and Nightwatch. So I'll see how I can get it tied into QuickSprint for that basic tool set. Because I have not used this yet. So I will check that out. I did create the issue. Yes. Okay. I will look into that. So while we're still waiting for Rector to install here, man, this is taking a minute. Five minutes. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's going. So just show what I was meaning. Oh, last pass. Olivero, stop. I just wanted to show the Olivero theme for those who haven't used it, because it's pretty sweet. What was that GitHub issue I was on? For the possibly this one. That's where I added the issue so I can do to there. Because one thing I plan on doing is so this live stream is part of my effort to get, Phpstand Drupal's up to date for Drupal 9 and PHP 8. So is Drupal Check, which unblocks upgrade status. That's like half of our upgrade infrastructure to Drupal 10. Drupal Rector is the second half of that. So with my sponsored time from Florida Drupal Camp, I'm working on Drupal Rector. And I think I'm going to do, after like that runs out, I'm going to do a series on testing and Drupal. And this will be like my workshop environment. And I'll go through running through Nightwatch, PHP unit, Cypress, Be a Hat, all the other various things. Let's see what failed here. So here's Olivero. And tomorrow what we'll be testing is see how the menu collapses when you scroll. We'll be using Nightwatch to automate the scroll and verify that it collapses. So that'll be something we go through tomorrow. So if you're interested, register for MidCamp. Midcamp.org is a free option. So register and join in. All right, let's get back to finding out why this failed. Local package functional test via Behat. Okay. Now we got to figure out why this broke. Why can't I scroll down more? Oh, geez. I don't know what all this means. Three scenarios, two passed, one failed. I can't grok this output because I have no idea what it means. There's this minus and plus, which seems like that's what it was fixing, or that's like a reverse diff. What is this? All right. Let's take a second to feature deprecation index. as a developer, I want the deprecation index file to parse cleanly so that other systems can reference this file. When I examine, it's valid. Okay. Only uses ASCII characters. Great. As a Drupal developer, I want Rector example deprecations to be updated by Drupal Rector so that I don't have to update them manually. Okay. Scenario, verify Rector's example updates. Okay. So that's why there is this folder. So there's examples. There is updated. So if we do split and move right, I see. So it compares the two to make sure that things were updated properly. And that failed. Test does not match. I really wish this was a PHP unit because then we could test individual files instead of the entire directory. So we'll see how we can do. So this is the test matches on the path, and it runs diff between the two folders. And before it was I run Rector on the tests, I run Rector on the features temp. Sorry, that. Temporary folder, the path. So process this Rector path, return value. Okay. So it's basically saying it didn't run, is how I'm reading this. Yeah, because if the diff is against examples updated to features, so this is the area that's been fixed. It's basically saying that it didn't run, which is a bummer because there's no way to test. There's no way to run this test locally. Or I guess there is a way to. It's just not easy. So let's see if we can. Oh shoot, we're coming up on almost 2 hours, which is about as much time as I have, so I can go through some client work. So let's just see real quick how I can run this locally. There was some notes. The automated testing. So this assumes that this repository was installed as a local composer package. We need we need a full. So we need this repository. Oh, jeez. Well, I think this is as far as I'm able to get today. We have it running. The local package run is passing. So it ran, but it ran, but it didn't die. So I don't think this verifies anything. So it copies it, it runs it, doesn't make sure that there's nothing broken. Rather, just make sure that Rector doesn't, crash. But this test is proving that nothing was fixed because we expect this, but we got the old school code. I wonder if it's due to the import. Let's go back to the code. What does rector.yaml look like? So auto load paths. Let's see, where's functional tests? So it creates the recommended project and it moves it to the Drupal directory, or it moves Drupal to there. And it CDs into it and it symlinks this into it. It copies the rector.php, which is the same as config web directory, right? Yeah, it's the same as web directory. Copies this into there and runs behat. Hey, but it's like it didn't run at all. Nope, so that's there. False, false, true. File extensions, the services. So configuration imports. So it imports all deprecations, which this should explode if it doesn't exist, I would hope. So set current directory, this path, I guess, so this import. So if ignore not found is equal to import. I really want to run this with like xdebug to figure it out, but I'm not able to get that running locally right now. That'll have to be for, I'm doing this again on Sunday at 10. Hold on. I wrote it down somewhere. So Sunday at 10 a.m. Central Time or 3 p.m. UTC, I'll be back at this again. I think that's when I'm going to have to pick up running this test to figure out why it's not running. Because I can't, just by reading this, I can't figure it out. And I don't quite grok this. Like, I feel like I need to install Drupal below this repository, but still have a vendor directory. Like, I don't quite get running it locally. And there's no PHP unit tests, so I can't go that route. But that's okay. We've got it basically. Well, I guess it's not okay, and it's not basically running if import this directory. Yeah, I guess it's not. It technically can't be running if, or can't be upgraded if the test is completely failing. So I'm gonna have to call it right now. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, I'll be doing this again on Sunday, and I want to give a major shout out to Florida Drupal Camp. This is part of my funding I received from them. They paid for 20 hours of work to get the Phpstand Drupal and Drupal check projects up to date for Drupal 9 and PHP 8. It went up a little bit faster than I thought, and I'm waiting to see if any other bugs shake loose. But until then, I'm using it to get just all of our tooling updated for the Drupal 10 readiness, which still helps people who are on Drupal 8 and still trying to get to Drupal 9, because that means their tools are maintained using the latest things, are bug free. So yeah, so I'll be back at this on Sunday. I'm gonna figure out how I can get these tests running locally, and hopefully that means by Sunday we can get my goal is Sunday to get this ready for Rector 0.10, because then we can add Drupal 9 support, which is basically namespacing all. It's just a major rename of everything in here to be D8 and then create new ones. When is D10 readiness? It's a Friday. I know that. I know I'm talking at it, but I don't know the actual date. So let's learn more about DrupalCon North America, or DrupalCon Virtual North America. Program initiative days. Drupal 10 readiness is Friday, April 16th. And if you want to learn more about getting ready for Drupal 10, or even Drupal 9, you're still on Drupal 8, let's wait for the schedule to load. April 16th at 12:20 Central, which would be 1:20 Eastern. We're going to talk about the tools to get your site ready for Drupal 9 and 10, which will be going through Phpstand Drupal, Drupal check, upgrade status, and Drupal Rector, what they mean, how you run them, which ones do you need. So if you're going to DrupalCon, we'll be talking about this. It should be a fun time. So great. Any other questions before I sign off? I'll hang out for about 5 more minutes before I've got to tend to some client work before I wrap up my day. And thanks everybody for coming on in. And again, thanks to Florida Drupal Camp for basically sponsoring my time so I can work on these community projects. All right, I'm gonna head out. Thanks everybody for coming in. Again, Sunday I'll be here. Follow and click the notify button, and you'll get a ping when I start. Have a good one.